Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, welcome to the video. As you may know, I have the Energica Experia on loan from English Electric Motor Co. to make some videos on a review on. Now, the way I do my reviews is slightly different to many, is that I do a whole series while I have this bike for about a week, 10 days, something like that. I have a first ride, which is about my sort of emotional reaction, I have videos in the middle, and then I do a review at the end, which is a condensed version of all the information I've found through the previous videos, but people can go and look at a video if they want more information in any aspect of what I'm talking about in the review. Now, because I want to cover the UI and all the dash and everything like this in great detail, I've realised this needs to be a standalone video, otherwise my review will be way too long. So what we can do in this video is take a look at the bike, point out where all the bits and pieces are, how you open secret cubby holes and all that sort of stuff, because I don't get user manuals when I'm giving these, and there's no way of me finding out what buttons do what, and not necessarily is it ever labelled that well. But I've worked out most, if not all of it so far. First, I'm going to start with a physical look over at the bike, and then I want to go and find some shade so I can show you that screen more clearly, because if there's anything on this bike I'm going to criticise, it would be the UI. Okay, well, let's start at the front. So we've got a 120/70/17 front tyre, that's a Pirelli. The rim is OZ Racing. Sorry if you want me to say OZ Racing, it just doesn't sound as good to me, but whatever. We've got 330mm Brembo discs. Well, I assume they're Brembo discs, Brembo brakes. 330mm discs, which are huge. And 4-pot Brembo calipers, so obviously ×2. That's why this bike has got so much braking force. Forks, I'm not actually sure who they're made by, but they have got adjustments on the top for both of them. Looking in from the front of the bike, we've got the Y splitter for the front brake lines, and then you can see the radiator there. Obviously the battery's behind that bit. Headlights, LEDs. This has got the cutest face of any motorcycle in the world with its little cheeky grin and big eyes. Then coming around this side, the screen, that's its low point, that's its high point. Not a huge difference, and for me as a tall rider, I actually keep it down because I prefer having clean air in my face rather than turbulent coming off the top of that. Coming down the bike, the battery is in this part here. We've got the motor here, which is absolutely massive, and this says danger, high voltage, contact may cause electrical shock or burn. When something's got a big danger warning on that, you know it's a good thing. Rear brake is here, pegs, this is all very nicely made stuff. Brembo rear brake with a 280 disc on the back and a 2-pot piston caliper from the looks of it. Pillion pegs down here. This rack on the back of that is to do with the luggage, and I have a whole video on the luggage of its own. So I mean, there's so many things with this bike. Trellis frame up here, you can see the danger orange snakes through there. Now, something that did confuse me on this bike was, where do you charge it? Where is the plug? Because on the Eva Belly that I've also reviewed, have a whole series on, check it out, the seat pivoted up, if I remember rightly. However, on this, it's just this flap here. And as you can see, you've got your standard charger there. It's one I've been using from home. And then if you want to use one of the charging stations with the much faster chargers, you've got the bottom half that you can uncover down there. So that is where it is. It's got these little rubberized covers, which have to go on in that order. And it's just under there. We do have the same flap on the other side, but on this one it has... I think that's the diagnostics plug-in, but that's all that's there. Again, more orange danger snakes. No foot controls on this side, obviously. Chain driven with a sprocket. It is quite a large sprocket, looking at that, probably 50 something odd teeth. Can I see? Eagle. I mean, it's a nice looking sprocket, I'll give it that. Make a lovely clock. I used to make clocks out of sprockets. I have not found out how you remove this seat. I am under the belief maybe it is a case of unbolting. I don't know if I fully believe that. But I have not been able to find any keyholes, or actually any way that you remove it in the first place. So there has got to be some way of doing it. This has got a keyed ignition, which is absolutely fantastic because I don't like the wireless systems. Now here's another one. I was aware that there is a cubby hole underneath here, but I could not work out how to get to it. So I just sat there one day holding buttons until something happened. And I remember there's this one on the back here of the switch controls, which I'll get to later in this video. Press and hold it. You hear that noise, this pops up. And then in here, you have your charger, right slap bang in the middle. There's also a USB charger over there. This is the bike charger, obviously. Now, There is space all the way around. It's quite deep. There is quite a bit of storage space there, but the opening's not very big, and obviously with that in the middle it seems a bit silly. But the alternative is that they just made that a permanently closed thing and you lost all that space. So to me that makes sense. I'm going to move into the shade somewhere so you can see the screen better, so I can talk about the UI, but you do need to know about the controls on this bike so you know what I'm going to be using. So on this side we've got horn indicators, and this is your mode paddle for left and right to select things. It being where it is next to the indicator and feels very similar can cause problems in the fact that you can go to indicate and select the wrong mode. If it was your bike, you had it for months, maybe you wouldn't do that, but I have found myself doing that a few times. Pass, high beam, low beam switch here, and there is another trigger switch on the back here that says set on it, which is the same as this set button over here, although I don't know if it does the same thing. No, because that didn't make that open. So there you go. This is your cruise control button. The way this works is you can be at whatever speed you want to go. You press and hold it and it will keep to that speed. Now it's so far away that it is quite difficult to actually be holding the throttle naturally and getting on that. So I tend to bring my hand across. Once you're on that, you can press and hold the set button and click left and right with this, and that will go up and down miles an hour on the cruise control. With the cruise control, you can get on the throttle, go faster, let go, and it will slow back down to that speed. And if you want it to stop at any point, you tap the brake. Okay, I now need to find somewhere shady so I can show you this screen and all the menus and the stuff on it more clearly, but just know the way you control everything on there is with the mode button, which is left, right and press, and also that trigger on the back here, lower down, which allows you to go back, basically. Took me a while to find out how to go back. It was, yeah, I could see this bike being very frustrating if you don't get a manual, and there's nothing online I can find to give you any idea. Right, I'm going to go find somewhere shady. Okay, time to talk you through the screen because there is a lot to it. I'll try and keep my hand out of the way. Okay, so we've got time up here, temperature, we've got a menu and some options here, odometer and your trip here, battery remaining, this appears to be an estimated range, this is a temperature gauge, this is saying about what traction control you're in, what level of regen braking you have, what mode you're in for the bike, then you've got the RPMs of the motor, the speed of the bike, and I think that's draw, maybe it's like, it's a bit difficult to say what it is. So, there's quite a bit there. Now, this is where my complaint is with this bike. It's just a bit finicky trying to select anything and do anything. So, by pressing this once, and then pressing right, we can go through the different areas of the screen. As I explain it, it's going to make perfect sense, but when it comes down to actually doing it, it can be quite frustrating. So let's say we needed to change the regen, we would go across to this one, select it, and then we can go left and right to go through. So we got no regen, 1, 2 and 3. 3 is quite aggressive, 2 is about like an inline 4's engine braking is, 1 is a bit less, and 0 is off. So I like it at 2, makes the bike feel nice. Now if you go across to the modes and actually select them, it will tell you what you've got. So you've got sports, brake 3, but when you do, oh yeah, it changes it every time and I have to change it back. For that reason, you have actually got custom settings, custom 1, 2, and I think you might use an app or something to set that up, and I didn't do that. What's U? Urban. Okay, so yeah, this is the different modes. Urban, oh, but I'm using the clicker on the back here to go back. Although that's not working here, so I have to select. So W is wet, E is eco, S is sport, U is urban, and then you've got your 3 customs. Now, as I say, what I like is, yes, I want that. No, I want that. This is what I mean, right? Select, yes. Now press it, get back. There we go. Now I can go to here, and I can tell it to be 2. And there we go. It's just a bit of a faff. Okay, so now what we want to try and do is go to this one, because in here we can have a look at, right, so you've got diagnostics, vehicle status, status okay. Is that it? Okay. And you press this one on the back, not the pass light switch, the one below it, to go backwards. Then you've got preferences like languages, display, lights. As I say, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. But as you can see, there's a lot of customization there. Back. If you want to, for instance, clear your trip, you need to go over to this, press the button to go onto it and press it again and it will 0. I don't want to do that right now because I'm doing a bit of a range test. And look at that, I've done 85 miles and I have more than half of the battery remaining, and a lot of that was on the motorway, and I've been gunning it around on this thing because it's fun. Anyway, moving across, is that all of them? Right, that's all of those ones. So then we come back, so we're not in anything, and then we click across. Now we get another subset of menus. This one is about our consumption, torque, kilowatts, and all that sort of stuff, which can be live as you're riding along. The next one, now this is where you have to select it again to get your different options within this. This has got drift angle sensors. Now, I don't know if these actually function when you're out of this window, because I've looked at the... Hold on. There's also slope. I've looked at lean angle sensors. Yeah, this might reset because I had it in the like 30s at one point, and this is obviously reset. So I don't know if this actually does track your true maximum leans, because it seems to clear it itself. And it also doesn't necessarily seem to track unless you're in it. But if you are in it, it will live give you... I mean, I was up to like 30 degrees. What's 30 degrees? Oh, you are kidding me. I had no idea I was that far over. Wow, that actually puts things into perspective. But anyway, it's got that, which is quite cool, but I can't tell if it actually tracks when you're not in that screen. Right, okay, let's go back in. So you've got consumption, you've got those three screens. As I say, you select, go down to... Oh, that's how you can reset it. But I haven't reset it, and I was, as I say, I was much higher than that. Yep, and then you can go back, 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 back. Oh, then across, sorry. And there we go. So you've got a OK and a back, left and right to control it, which makes sense. And as I've shown you it kind of makes sense, but it's just the way that sometimes you can go back this way and sometimes you have to OK to go forward. It doesn't fully make sense at times. But then again, you don't really play with it that much. I put it in... If you own one of these bikes, put it in B2S and just leave it. It's the best it can be. Wait, how'd you put the hazards on with the indicator? This is a perfect example of what I mean. It says left and right, and it says hazard. There is no right. So that is left. That is right. If we hold it there, nothing. Press and hold to cancel. There we go, press and hold to cancel in the middle, and that's where you get hazards. That's what I mean, there's just little things like that you have to work out. If you've got the manual, it will be a lot easier for you. So here is your start, stop, kill sort of button. And if you want to start the bike, you have to hold the front brake in and press the button. If the side stand is down, it's going to say kickstand down, please, blah, 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 blah. So put it up, that's going to auto skip. Then we, again, press the brake in, press and hold the button, green light comes on here, we can now ride. That's at full power. If we now hold the brake, hold this again for a couple of seconds, it says reverse, look behind. Now, this will go into reverse, and it's slow. Like, that's its maximum speed. And that is really helpful, actually, because it can pull you up some gradients, or if you've got a load of stuff on the bike, it can make it a lot easier to move this bike and less likely for you to drop it, because you can get your feet either side of it, and you can really stabilise it. Same as, then press it quickly, that gives you forward. And you see, this is 4 or 5 miles an hour. So if you're needing to move the bike or anything like that, or even if you're off the bike and you're manually handling it and it's just really heavy to push, you can use this as an assist to help you move the bike around. Then if you want to go back to drive mode, press and hold it, and there you go. That, as far as I can tell, unless I've forgotten something... Oh, there is a USB charger down here as well. I missed that earlier. That is all of the controls and the looks and the functionalities and the bits on the Energica Experia. As I say, my only complaint with this bike, other than the fact that it's expensive and I can't afford it, is just the UI. It just needs polishing, just a more consistent forward-backwards sort of thing that might actually give you some warning. Now, as I say, if you want to see lots more riding on this bike, I have the first ride, I have me going to Goodwood and all the exploring there, and all the other videos I filmed along the way. And then it all culminates at the end with the review, and then I can refer people back to these sorts of videos for more information without making my review so long. Makes sense, right? If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel to see more of the reviews I do, please do that. I don't just do electrics, I'm just on a little bit of an electric phase at the moment. Because when I, pun intended, but not intended actually. When I have one bike dropped off, they then pick up and drop off the next one. So it means I go electric back to back to back. But I don't think I have another electric after this, and I'll be going back to doing petrols, big and small. And so if you want to help support that, see videos early, and at the point of filming this, I have 10 videos ahead on Patreon that aren't yet live on YouTube. I've made 20 videos in the past 30 days. I cannot release them at that speed. So that's why it's good to have Patreon for people who want to watch them at that speed and support the channel. And it was at this point I had some audio recording issues. So this is future me. Find links to Patreon below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.